Greg Jennings' Giants, while the 49ers are looking up and saying, hold on, we're 2-3 and have only beaten the Jets and the Patriots? What in the world? What would a loss mean tonight for Purdy? You guys were fighting about who wanted to go first.
I just assumed I would. Here's another guy who was a candidate for the Bud list.
He didn't make it?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Wait an hour and 60 minutes. All right, but a loss, I mean, to me, it's more damaging to the team, first of all. Although they would be 2-4, guess when they were 2-4 in 2021 and made the NFC title game. They were 3-4 a year later in 2022, made the NFC title game. So that's a little something for the Niners fans. Take heart.
Just for the record, they were 5-0 last year and made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, they've had slow starts before.
Okay.
They've had good years. Purdy's not the main problem. It's the defense, I think, has been a problem. They've been in the top 3 the last 2 years in total defense. Now they're 12th. Last week, they couldn't tackle James Conner. So the defense has to get it together. Brandon Ayuk had his first great game last week. He hadn't had 50 yards receiving in the first 4 weeks, so hopefully he's getting into shape. But Purdy's got to play better than he did last week. Last week was his first, in my view, that was his first bad game. That was the first time he had a passer rating under 89. He had the 2 interceptions.
Well, the Vikings game when he said to Brian Flores, your scheme is crazy,
he still threw for over 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I mean, he wasn't great, but I wouldn't say it was like a bad game. That's the best defense in the league, or one of them right now. So I don't think he was great, but I don't think he was bad. I think he was cooking early in that game. But he's got to be better. But I guess, to me, this doesn't have long-term ramifications. Like we're talking about, we know he's going to be up for a big contract in the offseason. If he were to continue from what he did last week and play that way essentially most of the season and they have a terrible record, sure, maybe that's an impact. But I think for the most part, he's having a good season. He's not putting up the numbers he has in the past. But look at these rankings where he is this season. Yards per attempt, first. Yards per game, 5th. The 10-yard, 20-yard, and 30-yard completions, first.
Pretty good.
Yeah, but
passer rating, he's 12th. And then here's the other thing, because again, to me, we're talking, and I think this is where Nick wants to go. We're talking about, will he get the $50 million contract? All right, but I care about it. So I'm going to say this. These are the guys and their passer ratings who just got paid $50 million or more per year. Brock Purdy's got a better passer rating than all of them. Jared Goff's the same. 95 is better than Dak. This is this year. Yeah. Better than Dak. Better than the Prince, if we're still calling him that. Better than J-Lo, Jordan Love. Better. I'm trying to get to catch on. Jalen Hurts, Tua, better than all of them. So he had a bad game last week. He's had some so-so games. But overall, I think he's played fairly well, and he's not the main problem.
Okay.
Do I need to get out the goalpost?
No, I'm going to do that for you, basically. Options here, because a loss tonight would mean we are trending towards Wilds. What I always said we were going to end up at with Brock Purdy. My most classic 2 of all classic 2s there were, which was to the point to where Brew was annoyed with me for my take on Purdy. You ended up annoyed with me for my take on Purdy, and I stood firm because just something was missing. And then Brock Purdy gave us, so we can do a little choose your own adventure. Do we want to hold, because Bruce says I moved the goalposts, Brock Purdy to standard X, Y, or Z? First standard is the one he set out for himself, where he was like, I want to be better in the second half of games and close teams out. Let's see, since he said that, how he's done in the second half of games. Well, it's gone the opposite. So that Brock Purdy set a goalpost right there. My goalpost had been, how is Brock Purdy when he doesn't have the full set of Avengers? So let's set a goalpost here and see if you can tell a difference. Because when he's got all of them, they never lose unless they're playing Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And when he's missing just 1 or 2, but most of these games it's been just 1, they're 2-7, 9 touchdowns, 16 picks, and 82 rating. Okay, that's his standard, my standard. What about just the calendar standard, which is, was there a forward-thinking, smart, savvy defensive mind that after he had 20 or so starts, figured him out, and he hasn't been the same since then.
Figure it out?
So let's go 10 games ago, up until he played Mike McDonald, who they played tonight, and since then, those look like different players to me. 18-3, 47 touchdowns, 11 turnovers, to 5-5, 11 touchdowns, 11 turnovers.
Like there's a blueprint on
You
Purdy?
were saying,
what
you were saying
again,
2 weeks ago he was playing well.
No, yeah, 2 weeks. You're absolutely right that I thought Brock Purdy played really well 2 weeks ago.
No,
the
but
week
you were
before,
saying throughout the season.
No, because the
first 3
Vikings
games.
game I didn't think he played well, and last
But you
week
said
he
you
didn't play
didn't kill
well.
him for that loss.
Right. Well, Brew, we now have correct.
I'm just
That is
saying
all correct.
the first 3 games of the year, you thought he was
I thought he was
solid.
playing fine, solid.
Okay.
Solid. But the argument's never been, is he solid? The argument is he going to get $60 million, as you mentioned, and the argument is he a legitimate force multiplier? You called him one of the Avengers yesterday.
I think he's played better than a lot of those Avengers.
So again,
I mean, seriously.
Again,
Better than Ayuk.
Like Joe Burrow's 1-4.
You think,
we're talking. No, I don't think he's as good as Joe Burrow. But is there something saying about Joe Burrow now?
Well,
Matt Stafford's 1-4.
Yeah,
he don't have a couple receivers.
Brew,
I'm just saying, like you acting like Brock Purdy's trash.
No.
Because they're 2-3.
No, I'm not. What I'm doing is saying, hey, what's the standard we want? Purdy said he wanted to be better in second halves. That hasn't worked out. I said I want to see him play well when he doesn't have the superstar cast. That hasn't seemed to happen this year.
He hasn't played well now. Now he's not played well.
Well,
He's not playing well.
Right.
Leading the league in all those categories I just showed.
3 of those categories were essentially the same thing. 10, 20, 30-yard throws. Yes, he has had a lot of chunk plays. I mean, they are
10-yard. You know.
10 yards is 1, 20.
Yeah, but they're all interrelated. And so if they fall to 2-4, and if it is, this team last year, remember the argument, who's more valuable, Christian McCaffrey or Brock Purdy? I think it will give us a little light on that.
Did anybody say it was Purdy? Even I didn't say it was Purdy.
Well, I mean, he literally finished higher in MVP voting, didn't he?
No, he finished 4th, and McCaffrey finished 3rd.
Oh, okay. All right, my bad. Okay, so yeah.
I don't think anybody made that argument.
Can I throw a Shanahan bone into the mix? Why are they so bad in the red zone? Or we think that's, I know the argument they don't have CMC, but like I saw on Twitter, like every team doesn't have Christian McCaffrey. So, and every team is not, they're 29th best in the red zone. Isn't that
Kansas City's 30th.
Isn't that a little bit? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Patrick. So I'm just saying you can't put it all on the quarterback.
I'm not
because Patrick, the best quarterback in the league, is 30.
So I'm not putting that all on the quarterback. But that exact question is truly the genesis of why this conversation is oddly important to me, because we saw it last year, in my opinion, when Brew would bring up, what did Christian McCaffrey win before he came to Brock Purdy?
Well, that's just a question.
Right.
What's the answer?
No, they didn't win anything. Right. and now we're talking about Brandon Ayuk's strugglings as if that has potentially nothing to do with the person passing him the ball.
Oh, no. Because Jawan Jennings has been great.
Jawan Jennings has.
It's on Ayuk. I think you believe that.
I think mostly for sure. But the point, and now I think Kyle Shanahan, it would be impossible for you, to find 5 coaches that you could make an argument are better than him. Impossible. Because if you're going to say he hasn't won a Super Bowl, are there 5 active coaches with a Super Bowl ring?
But he's also given up a lot of leads in Super Bowls.
Well,
That's the thing, too.
Patrick Mahomes has come back on him twice.
He was up 10 with 8 minutes left. They should have won that game. And I was glad they didn't. I was pulling for Mahomes. But I'm just saying. And then, of course, Atlanta up 28-3.
Okay, but he's not the head coach of that team.
But he's offensive coordinator. He was calling the plays. And he made bad play calls.
So this is, to me, what happens.
These are facts, Nick.
No, I understand. Those are facts. But because credit ends up oddly being a zero-sum game. That I have no problem with saying, hey, this kid's overachieved all this stuff. But now what we're doing, they played a football game last week against a team that we all agree does not have an impressive defense, where they had the ball at the 42, down 1 with a minute and a half left. And the quarterback threw an interception. And that has barely been a topic of conversation, and now we're like, how good is Kyle Shanahan really? That bothers me. Kyle Shanahan's great. Kyle Shanahan is a
Are
great
people
head coach.
really like that?
What? I mean, it's what Wild.
Purdy has gotten blamed for that.
I'm just saying, if a great coach shouldn't be horrible in the red zone.
like-
all these statistics you're talking about with Brock Purdy are also fall on Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan just